Here's 4 lessons that I learned from studying wealthy people that we can all apply to our own life. Number 1 is going to be live below your means. If you make $100,000 a year, but you spend $100,000 a year, at the end of the year, you're left with nothing. You're still broke. But if you make $50,000 a year and you only spend $40,000, so you save $10,000, at the end of the year, you have a net worth of $10,000. You continue to work hard and make money Monday through Friday and then spend it on Saturday and Sunday, and all the bills you have, you're never going to get ahead because you're spending everything you make. And usually the excuse is something like, well, I have to pay these bills, this is the certain way I have to live. But the majority of the time, you're actually inflating your lifestyle with the more income you make. For example, I bet 5 years ago, or even less than that, 3 years ago, you were probably making a lot less than you are right now. But yet 3 years or 5 years ago, you were still living just fine. You were still able to eat, you still had shelter, and you were still able to do fun things too. But here we are 5 years later, making more money, but you're continuing to inflate your lifestyle to spend everything that you make. It's a pattern that you have to break. And wealthy people have figured that out, that lifestyle is going to create so much stress that you're going to end up living paycheck to paycheck and only have a couple thousand or a couple $100 in your bank account in case an emergency happens. You're going to have nothing left over to invest every month. If that's you right now, there's certainly things you can cut down in your own life, or make it a goal that every time you get another raise or promotion, that you don't just end up spending more money on your lifestyle, but that's going to be money that's going to go ahead and get saved or invested. And the best way to live below your means is to live with a budget, so you have control over your money. Wealthy people know how much money they're making and they know how much money they're spending on certain line items, whereas broke people have certain money coming in. They know they get paid $1,000, $2,000, whatever it may be, every week. And then they know they have a certain amount of bills, but as long as their bank account just kind of stays the same, they're good. That's not going to help you get ahead. You need to create a budget where you actually know what money is coming in and what money is going out. The second lesson is going to be wealthy people plan for the future. Usually broke people are very short-term minded about how am I going to make it through the month? How am I going to make it through the week? When you plan more for the future, the present becomes easier. For example, we see this a lot with investing. It's so hard to play catch up with investing. Whereas if you just start investing early and often, you're on so much of an easier track to become wealthy. Just look at this chart. If you do $500 a month from now until age 60, if you start at age 20, you're gonna have over $3 million. That's gonna make your future a lot easier and a lot less stressful. But if you start at age 40 or 50, you're only gonna have $100,000 left. And that's not enough to retire on. But the difference between those two people, the 20-year-old and the 50-year-old, they're both putting the same amount of money away every single month. But the earlier you plan for the future, the earlier you invest, it's so much easier. If you haven't started investing seriously, you need to start today. As long as you have an income, you should always be investing. The third main thing I learned about wealthy people is they build assets, not liabilities. An asset is something that brings you money. A liability is something that costs you money. And broke people are more focused on how many more liabilities can I buy? Because if I buy more clothes, more cars, that's gonna make me wealthy. When in fact, that's not contributing to how much you're worth at all. That's not helping you build your wealth at all. That's just costing you more and more money. An asset is something that you own, such as a business, rental properties that can bring you monthly income, or even your 401k account, your investment accounts that are continually bringing you in money. When you understand that you should focus more on assets than buying liabilities, the assets eventually will pay for all the liabilities and more liabilities than you could have ever imagined affording. This is how a wealthy person will look at this chart. The more assets they build, the more liabilities they can afford. They take their income and they first think about, okay, how can I add to my investments? How can I add to my real estate portfolio? How can I add to my business so that it'll create more income for me to afford my liabilities. A broke person is going to take their income, they're going to skip right over the assets, and they're going to go right to the liabilities, again spending everything they make just on liabilities, and at the end of the day they have nothing to show for it. Assets are going to give you that passive income where you work really hard one day, and whatever you made that day, whatever you bought that day, whatever you created is going to continue to bring in income. It gives you the ability to make money while you sleep, something that a liability will never be able to do. The fourth and final lesson from wealthy people is going to be continual education throughout your entire life. Every day, every week, every month, try to be learning something. When you're at the gym, instead of listening to music the whole time, listen to a podcast that's going to help you learn something that you didn't know before. Read a book. I used to hate reading. I never read books ever until I realized this fact, this lesson, that wealthy people read books. So I forced myself to read books, and every time I read a book, it got easier and easier, and I realized, wow, I can learn a lot from this. Audiobooks can help too if you like just listening to books while you're driving to work instead of just zoning out and listening to the radio. Whatever you're doing or however you do it, make sure that you're continuing to learn things about investing, about self-development, whatever job you're in, whatever you like to do for fun. Even the more you learn about whatever you do for fun, the better you're going to be at it and the more disciplined you're going to become. And you don't always have to learn things from just books or podcasts from people you don't know. Surround yourself with smarter people. Learn from smarter people. Have a mentor, someone to look up to. Try to emulate someone at your job that you respect and you're like, hey, that's someone I want to be there in 5 years or 10 years from now. And go out of your comfort zone to put yourself in tough situations. You learn the best through practical application. Actually experiencing it yourself, you're going to learn so much more than if you just read it in a book. It's a scary thing to do, but if there's a tough situation at work, you need to put yourself in that situation. Or if it's at home, or if you wanted to try something new and you're like, man, I don't know if I can do that. No matter what happens, you're going to learn something from it. And that's going to help you with this lesson of you need to be continually educating yourself. Thanks for watching, guys. To see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button. We just passed 200 subscribers. That's awesome. Let's keep growing, keep getting this information out there. And one of the best ways you can do this is hit the like button on this video. It shows that you enjoyed this video. YouTube will push it out to more and more people the more likes we get. Thanks, guys. I'll see you next week, Monday at noon.